All right, a very good morning to you. It is the 23rd day of February 2026. Just 4 days until the end of the month.
I'm telling you.
Making beer.
It's really flown by. Wakey, wakey. Another beautiful day that you are joining us here on Morning Cafe, trusting that you slept easy, had a restorative night, and you're ready for the day. We're here to give you a good cheering start of the day.
Absolutely. How hot is your coffee this morning? Talk to us. Tell us where you're watching the show from. It's World Understanding and Peace Day. What this day does, it spotlights the skills that make it possible for harmony to prevail. And that includes listening carefully to your neighbor, listening to understand, not listening to respond. Just some of the few things that are necessary for harmony to prevail. Let's take a look at the question of the day, which of course will form the basis of our discussion today. Do you think political movements like Linda Wananchi and Linda Ground are delivering real solutions or simply shaping narratives, and what impact could they have on the political landscape? Once again,
a big question there. Do you think political movements like Linda Wananchi and Linda Ground are delivering real solutions or simply, shaping narratives? And what impact could they have on the political landscape? So what do you think? We would love to hear from you.
What do you think?
What do I think about it?
Yes.
Yes, I've got a lot of thoughts about it, and especially this forms our discussions also today, much later in the program, because we've been seeing the rising of what scholars call the Messiah complex. So are we caught up in another Messiah complex syndrome? And we know across democracies, looking from the West, we can talk about American politics, we can talk about Eastern Europe as well. There's always been people who are crystallizing around personalities. They rise like, the meteorite rising, and then they taper off with time. So are we in that particular moment that if you dig deeper, it sounds hollow, like that, what they call the gong. Have you ever hit a gong like this?
The music one.
Yes, dong, So is it really hollow? And we've seen this actually taking off in the country. We had Matiang'i who came.
Yes.
People really came out in force, to receive Matiang'i at the airport. But where is Matiang'i today? Today they will be going, of course, to Kisii to try and prop up the profile of Matiang'i. We had Maraga. People saying it is Maraga who is a man. How did also Ruto come to power? Was this a Messiah complex syndrome that we are caught up in? And how can we gravitate from Messiah complex syndrome and come to, real politics of issues? Because Messiah syndrome will weaken institutions, and also it will sort of really make policies also taper off as well.
Hawana power, wanasema pale. There's an ODM Linda Ground. Hawana power, wanatafuta power. Tuna power. Of course, we've seen, speaking of Messiah complex, Merara Kebaso.
Yes.
Okio Mtata. We don't hear about them now. So
the days really start way too early. It's a game of strategy and also timing. You need to time, because this requires huge amount of resources.
All right, so once again, our question of the day. Do you think political movements like Linda Wananchi and Linda Ground are delivering real solutions or simply shaping narratives? And what impact could they have on the political landscape? Talk to us. Send us your feedback. TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, on X at TV47 Digital. And you can tag us. My handle is at @Ann_Odida.
At Dibala in here.
The hashtag is Morning Cafe TV47. Let's come back and take a look at the state of the weather.
Indeed.
All right, let's take a look at how the weather's looking. The rains are here with us. In Siaya, it's raining this morning as we speak. It's 17 degrees, highs of 22 degrees expected today in Siaya. This is very comfortable weather. Kakamega, it's also raining as well. This morning is 15 degrees. Today, highs of 22 degrees. Kilifi is also raining, 25 degrees this morning, highs of 28 degrees. So it's raining across board. Kitui is also raining. This morning is 19 degrees. Highs of 27 degrees. Kisii this morning as we speak, the United Opposition will be in Kisii today. It's raining. It's 15 degrees this morning, highs of 19 degrees. And Nairobi this morning is 16 degrees. It's raining as we speak, highs of 21 degrees. All right. So heavy rainfall are expected all the way from this month up until latest April, according to the weatherman. There are areas of concerns as well. Migori, we have Nyamira as well. We have Bungoma and Kakamega. Embu, Meru also part of the high alert, areas on high alert, Nyeri as well. So let's come back and take a look at the local dailies. All right, I apologize for that. Let's have the GOtv video.
The past holds no power over your future. It's always possible to begin again, to take a new path, and to reinvent yourself as the person you wish to become.
All right, now let's come back and take a look at the dailies. Start off in Uganda. Daily Monitor, Uganda Airlines global routes hit. They say cancelled, and the temporary disruptions follow the grounding of two of Uganda Airlines long haul, that is A330 Neojets, which operates routes to the UK, UAE, India, and Nigeria. Both aircraft were taken out of service for unscheduled maintenance. That's a story on page 4. Museveni and Lango leaders discuss post-polls deals. See, the cross-party team in their memo say the 2026 polls have proved a game changer in voting pattern, with Lango giving President Museveni 84.49% of the vote and also expect 84.49% of development in the sub-region. That's a story on page 3. And of course, Ugandan government warns of heavy rainfall and flash floods as well. They say that the destructive rainfall is expected from February 19th to February 28th, and citizens are urged to take necessary precaution. Long roads of Moeme's 1.4 billion shillings rent was another story here. And the top strip courts to go paperless starting June. This is Daily Monitor, and still in Uganda, New Vision.
Yes, New Vision is up next, and you're waking up to this headline: man arrested with 261 passports. It looks like he's well traveled. But the police are hunting other suspects in the scam. That is what is headlining the front page of the Citizen this morning. And you can follow that story inside on page 4. Museveni pushes for dialogue to end war in Sudan. It's another story that will be of interest to you as well, still in the New Vision. Looking at the sidebar, education material past all-level math. And you have also Karamoja, Irish Minister, Lord's Government on Education. Also, make sure you grab a copy of it, because today you have the jobs inside there. Over 120 offers and also tenders are inside the publication today. You can see a standalone picture of Museveni, just to relate to that particular story there. Museveni pushing for dialogue to end war in Sudan with some of the officials there. And yes, people are talking about RSF as well, and getting, sort of a thumbs up from Museveni. So is it happening in East Africa? People are raising also questions around this. Dutch Embassy, New Vision Foundation launch 4.1 billion shillings farming deal is another story that is tucked away on page 2 of the New Vision in Uganda. So, and lastly there, 2 ferries on Lake Kyoga commissioned. Good news for them as well. That is happening in the land. They normally say the Pearl of Africa.
All right, twende Bongo, Tanzania. Gazeti la Mwananchi, tunatishwa ndio habari kuu katika ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili. Anasema kwamba kamishna jenerali wa DCEA afunguka wanavyotishiwa maisha, aweka msimamo wa vitisho, ajivunia uimara wa maofisa wake. Na amenukuliwa hapa akisema kwamba matishio yanakuja, watu wanatishia, unaweza kutumiwa message, ujumbe mfupi wa maandishi hapo hapo. Ukiitafuta ile simu kwenye mtandao haipo. Anakuambia hii jambo usipoliacha, labda mwezi fulani haufiki, tutakuwa tumekuwa, au mtu anakuwa tumekuua, au mtu anakuambia hakikisha hili jambo unaachana nalo. Vita dhidi ya vigogo wa dawa za kulevya ni habari kuu hapo katika ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili. Vidokezo zaidi, faraja kutoka shahada ya walimu hadi conductor. It's a story of hope on page 18. CUF yapata viongozi wapya, Lipumba ya mkuta ya Maalim ni habari nyingine ya siasa katika ukurasa wa 4. TANESCO kuingiza umeme wa jua kwenye gridi ya taifa. Kule juu, Plan International yachangia ufaulu kwa wasichana Geita na Kigoma, na mitazamo tofauti, tume ya Chande kuongezewa muda. Gazeti la Mwananchi.
Right, gazeti la Mwananchi still in Tanzania.
The Citizen.
Yes, all the Citizen. You know, Citizen and Mwananchi, so the translation there.
Yes.
Finance sector stays strong amid mounting global risks is what is on the front page of the Citizen. And they're talking about financial leaders from across sub-Saharan Africa having expressed cautions, or their cautious optimism about the region's financial stability, even as climate change, cyber threats, debt pressures, and global policy uncertainties continue to test economic resilience. This is well tucked away for you on page 3 of the Citizen. And you can see also a bite there from Emmanuel Tuba, the Bank of Tanzania governor, saying, quote unquote, collaboration is essential. We must continue to share best practices, data, and insights to create an enabling environment for growth, innovation, and stability across the region. And the World Bank on Africa Global Manager for Financial Systems, Resilience and Integrity at the World Bank, Saskia de Vries, says banking crises in sub-Saharan Africa have had relatively contained impacts compared to other regions. Focus also is shifting to upgrade path after Moody's affirmed Tanzania rating. That is another story that you'll want to follow. Tanzania's reaffirmation at B1 by Moody's ratings has eased immediate concerns of a downgrade. But attention is increasingly, they say, turning to what the country must do. All right, you can follow the story inside the publication today. Lab crisis hits 40% of secondary schools, threatening science drive is a special report inside the Citizen. Let's look at the teaser on top there. And we have Beatrice Nyamari, a leader turning strategy into measurable impact. That story tucked away on page 5 of the Citizen today. Also, make sure you grab a copy because they have the Edukwanza Education Fair 2026 is a pullout inside the Citizen publication today. That's
Tanzania, not in Kenya.
Yes.
Let's take a look at the local dailies now. We start off with Taifa Leo. Farasi watatu aibuka. Linda Mwananchi chini ya Sifuna, Orengo na Babu Owino watoa ishara ya kupambana na Ruto na upinzani mwaka 2027. Kivumbi, muungano mpya wa kisiasa unatishia kuvuruga hesabu za wanasiasa wa kongwe katika uchaguzi wa urais, huku baadhi ya wafuasi wakianza kumshinikiza seneta Sifuna awanie urais katika kura zijazo za mwaka 2027. Right now, if you're a messiah, if you're seen like the messiah, you come and you're told you're worthy of becoming president. Go and vie for presidency. You've seen that with the 3 we talked about. Matata, Okiya Omtata, Maraga, Morara Kebaso, Boniface Mwangi. So anyway, right now Sifuna is also being told, quote unquote, by the Gen Z, the young Turks,
yeah, he seems
go
to
for
be
presidency.
Go for the presidency. So these are questions that we'll interrogate much later. The Messiah complex syndrome that Kenya is caught up in that particular web.
Right. Vidokezo zaidi, sakata ya shilingi bilioni 10.9 za talanta yaanikwa. Wizara ya Fedha ilikubali shilingi 35 bilioni za ujenzi wa Talanta Stadium, ila gharama katika mkataba ni shilingi bilioni 45. Matiang'i aonya Ruto kuhusu wizi wa kura mwaka ujao. Ni naibu kiongozi wa Jubilee asema jinsi alivyozima wizi wa mtihani akiwa waziri ndivyo atakavyozuia wizi wa kura mwaka 2027. Man City yaanza kumnyima Arteta usingizi. Habari ya spoti hapa. Ushindi wa vijana wa Guardiola dhidi ya Newcastle United wapunguza pengo baina yao na vinara wa EPL Arsenal hadi alama 2. Vuguvugu la mashoga lapigwa breki. Habari iko katika ukurasa wa 5. Inasema watetezi wa LGBTQ wakatazwa kujiunga na kesi. Gazeti la Taifa Leo.
Right, we have the Daily Nation up next. This is what you're waking up to on the front page of the Daily Nation today. Oh no, most of you will say that should not be the headline. 11 billion shilling Salanta Stadium scandal. Right? Are we also getting to another one here? And on top here, the flagger reads defense. President Ruto has showcased project as a success story. And by the way, it looks beautiful, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Yes, I like how it is. And we have a quote here from the president saying, they were casting doubts, but we trusted the process. Now look, see for yourselves. Talanta Stadium is right here. This is huge. You will love it, right? But do we love also the cloud banks that are hanging around it when it comes to the scandal as well? These are questions which are being raised here on the front page of the Daily Nation. Price variation. Audits says contract sum rose to 45.8 billion shillings from 35 billion shillings without any explanation. Also, the illegal procurement, no justification for bypassing open tendering systems. So we're talking about also a process propriety that was violated, flouting some of the procurement rules that are needed here when it comes to open tendering systems. So why was it bypassed? Was it a single sourcing? What is the justification? And what also does the Public Procurement Authority says about this? We've not heard from them as well. Attorney General ignored AG's approval was never sought as required by law for contracts worth over 5 billion shillings. And that is the threshold. Of course, these are the ones you don't need the approval or the seeking of advice from the Office of the Attorney General. But anything that is crossing over the threshold of 5 billion shillings must be, of course, cleared by the Office of the Attorney General. Cost overruns. Lopsided agreements imposes heavy penalties for delays to pay contractor. These are questions that must be answered. And you have a full story on page 4 of today's publication. And let's look at the sidebar, just what we were talking about. And Matiang'i's tour Gusii amid Mount Kenya jitters. Yes, there's still a bit of antsy moment there in Mount Kenya because we see DCP also is DCP and the PNU party. We have the party leader there, Peter Munya, who is seeking some alliance with the Jubilee Party. So what does it really portend for the DCP? There is a sort of, I don't know if it's a marriage of convenience, because there has been some tension between Fred Matiang'i and the former Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. So in light of what is happening on the other side of the scope, where we're looking a formidable movement, the Sifuna movement is, making such a huge formation. Is it a big threat that now is informing this particular tours as well? So this is a united opposition tour. People are saying this is not really to raise the profile of Matiang'i, but it is just part and parcel of the rallies they are supposed to be doing. This is all what is on the front page of the Daily Nation. Lastly.
All right, you have another story you want to highlight?
No, yeah, just here on the teaser, because yesterday was a big day. I don't know if you're a golfer.
No.
You have no studying idea about anything about golfing.
I don't. Do you?
No, I'm not. I tried once.
The irony.
But I can't keep up. Well, I find it a bit slow. Yeah, maybe I don't have the intellectual provenance to play golf. So I don't tee off at all. But you saw, this is South African golfer holds enough to win 60 million shillings, magical Kenya Open top prize. Yesterday also, we had our Kenyan there, Kibuga. I don't know if I'm getting the right name. Yes, but 5 million shillings, a tidy sum of money that was given. Yeah.
That's good money.
Yes.
All right, that's Daily Nation. Let's take a look at People Daily now. The rise of Sifuna and ODM's fight for status quo is a story mentioned on page 4. One party, many voices. The ODM party is divided, but they refuse to agree that it is divided. They say they're one. Anyway, we're on the lookout for that.
You know what they always say, you cannot see the picture if you're in the frame.
Yes.
So you need to step out of the frame. So they can't see that they are divided, but we are seeing that they are divided.
We can see that very clearly, but it's okay. Other quick headlines here. No, thank you. Those who have rejected Ruto's nomination, it's a story mentioned on page 2. It says Millicent Omange, who declined Ruto's appointment to serve in the Nairobi Rivers Commission as a member due to what she termed as personal reasons. We have Lenny Kivuti, who turned down Ruto's offer following the sacking of Justin Muturi as CS. Timothy Bosire, on the other hand, who declined Ruto's appointment due to community interest. There are others like Margaret Nyambura Ndungu, and of course Faith Odhiambo as well. It's a story on page 2. There's a story here on page 8, and it's also on the front page of the People Daily. It says MP threatens to lead invasion of ADC Mutara farm. This is like Laikipia North MP Sarah Korere, who has threatened to lead her constituents in invading the 63,000-acre Mutara Agricultural Development Corporation farm in Laikipia if the management continues preventing herders from grazing their animals there. This is a story on page 8 of the People Daily, and that's the People Daily.
All right, we have the Standard up next. The dynamic duo is what is a splash today you're waking up to on the front page of the Standard. And you have the two faces that they are the dynamic duo that is of Babu Owino, right? And we have also Edwin Sifuna there, the Secretary General of the ODM party as it stands right now. And this is thirst for change. With 2 lives lost as the state reverts to its old habits of using violence to protect power, the country's youth are rallying behind the Mimi Ndiye Sifuna, Sisi Ndio Sifuna slogans. Political analysts say recent ODM clashes have lifted the fog of party alignments, revealing a growing desire for a younger generation to carry Kenya's aspirations into 2027. The two most dynamic figures now tasked with sustaining this momentum. I'm Battle ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna and Embakasi East MP Babu Owino. This story, we have it well spread out for you on page 4, 5, 6, and 7 of today's publication. Inside the Standard, you can have all this, and the story goes on. Are we facing a generation exit, generation entry, hinge moment in Kenya's history? That is what we have as a story. You can follow it inside the Standard today.
There was a time Babu Owino was also hitting headlines as quote-unquote messiah.
Yes.
Right now it's Sifuna's turn.
And people were saying Babu for president. Yeah, you remember. Yeah, I don't know if they've really lost that momentum as well, or they're on the cusp of a new one here. So we are yet to just discern what is the way forward regarding the two. Or is just, the hype of the youth, then it tapers off with time.
We'll be on the lookout for that as well. Let's take a look now at the Star. CBK rate cuts fail to translate into cheaper borrowing. This is a story on page 4 and 5. It says established firms, banks with healthier loan books remain biggest beneficiaries. Is the main headline here. Kalonzo Rigathi attend church in Utawala as Ruto goes to Kiambu. They've all been spread out here on the front page. There's this governor here. United Opposition leaders Kalonzo Musyoka of Wiper, Rigathi Gachagua of DCP, as they're there at PCEA Church. We have President William Ruto, Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi. His property, the ones that were demolished at somewhere around town area there.
The Tanyao Stadium there.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the second time it's happening. It's not the first time.
Yeah.
And it seems this mostly happens when we're aging towards the general election. Maybe a statement of you're aligning or misaligning.
All right, that's another story there on the front page of the Star. A boost for teachers as MPs back new bill on acting allowance. That's the Star, fresh, independent and different. Grab a copy at 60 Kenya shillings. If you're in Tanzania, it's 1,000 Tanzania shillings, and Uganda, it's 2,000 shillings. Let's take a look now at the Business Daily. Tuangalie biashara inasema vipi this morning. Or we don't have it this morning, but tuangalie sasa cartoonists.
We don't have it? I think we do.
We do?
Yeah. How Uganda board seat fight put KPC cell at risk. That is what is on the front page of the Business Daily. How Uganda board seat, I should say, fight put KPC cell at risk. And you have the story there on page 2 of the publication today. Just to read a snippet of what they're saying. Uganda secured 2 seats on the board of the Kenya Pipeline Company after last-ditch crunch talks saved the sale of the government's 65% stake in the farm from collapse. You can have that story, as I've mentioned, on page 2 of the publication. Right, you see they've extended, this is the KPC. Yeah, actually they extended this offer when we were talking about the IPO, because there was no much interest that was seen, despite the fact that we had all this hype. And Kenyans are not also showing much interest in buying this shares as well.
Let's take a look at the caricatures now. We start off with the People Daily. Stanley's stake. Sifuna is here yet again. He is holding a book, BAMBA Legacy. And he says, I am yet to reach the chapter that talks about Mkatinus. That's Stanley's stake, BAMBA Legacy.
Yes, I am yet to reach the chapter. It talks about Mkatinus.
Right, we have the Star as well. The ODM, this looks like both of them, Linda Mwananchi and Linda Ground. All of them scattered here. Lakini, looks like they're having some fun in the beach or the coast. They say we want power, tunataka power. But Ozone says we want a power struggle.
Oh, very telling there. And I think Ozone is daring, you know. They're all in the under things, as you can see. Yeah, this is admissible at the cost. Yeah, so people will not raise their eyebrows, and most of them you can see. We have all the Kuts there who are dancing as well with the young ones, and this looks like the latest phenomenon within ODM, who is being, of course, not given much premium or attention, and being thrown out of ODM. The Salah factor.
Yes.
Yeah, Salah factor is here with the vest. Yeah. And someone also is muscling out his, you can see showing his muscles as well, the ODM Secretary General.
Yeah.
And we have the one in glasses there. Yeah, the governor of Siaya. Yeah, Babu Owino is also next there also. The biceps are bulging, as you can see it. And this is the ODM dance right now. Yeah. We want it's a power struggle. Yeah, everyone wants power.
Yeah.
So later we shall be looking at the different rallies. Where has the power shifted?
All right. The Standard, there's 2 parts here. ODM under Raila on top. Under Raila, it says they were the ones backing. Walikuwa kusema. But right now, ODM under Oburu, umbwa imeshindwa nguvu. Umbwa ina uwezo. Wanataka power.
You know, it reminds me, I think there was a video doing rounds on TikTok where the Kenya police, I think they'd gone to bury one of their own. As norm is, they have to blow the bugle. You remember?
Yes.
So this police officer tried to blow this bugle, but it was not really, sounding off correctly. Then they said, nothing works in Kenya. Not even the bugle, all right? Yeah. So is nothing really working in ODM as it is? Yeah, so I think this is what Gams is really trying to portray here. That, ODM was working then, ODM is working now?
Yeah.
Are they going to splinter? That's the question.
No power.
No power.
Finally, Daily Nation?
Finally, Daily Nation, we have Igar, and he has, this is all about Goonism, as you can see it here. Especially on the political rallies, we can see someone there with a catapult. And this is the MPs who are sponsoring these goons, as you can see it. This is what is in the Daily Nation today.
All right, let's come back and take a look at the traffic now, because these are just some of the stories making headlines in the country and regionally. Let's see how the traffic's looking in Nairobi.
Indeed.
All right, let's take a look at the major tributaries to town, how it's looking. I saw something here. Kama imepotea kidogo, right?
Oh, yeah.
Thika Road is packed, as you can already see. It's red spotting filling up Thika Road at the moment. This is Muthaiga interchange. We go way back to Utalii Drive. The traffic starts from here all the way to Pangani interchange this morning. It's just 6:30 a.m. and we can already see some trouble spots there. If we take a look at the other sides of town, ni kama nimegusa mahali, but getting into town, Landis Road, also building up slowly. Traders are getting into town. Jogoo Road, areas around Makadara on your way to town also building up slowly, nothing to worry about. There's something here along Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital. It's also building up slowly on your way to town and on your way to Kangundo Road. Kangundo Road also way back. It's also building up slowly in Njuru town, as you can see. Right now, traffic, this area is also a chock-a-block here, Komarok, heading to town, this area here. Embakasi area also, this is around Feather Estate. Imara Daima also building up slowly. City Cabanas there, the roads are clear there. This is areas around Mlolongo to town. In the area around Expressway, looking good this morning. So the only trouble spot that we are seeing this morning is the areas around Muthaiga interchange. These are the sides of town are looking good, not so bad, nothing to worry about. Once again, this is trouble here, and as you can see, also Kiambu Road is also getting some trouble because of this here along the Muthaiga interchange. It's also affecting Kiambu Road here.
This is what the president was really talking about, that now this has to be sorted out with another expressway, so that we can open up the bottleneck around, you know, there on the Thika Highway. Just coming to, you know, Professor Wangari Maathai as well, that particular channel is where now we find it, there's a bottleneck.
All right, this has stretched up to DCI area, so I don't know what to mtawe hepia wapi this morning. That's how the traffic is looking this morning, and of course, continue interacting with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya, on Facebook and on YouTube, on X, at TV47 Digital. You can tag us. My handle is at @_Odida. The hashtag is Morning Cafe TV47. Your handle, Dibal?
At Dibala now.
All right. All right, once again, our question of the day is, do you think political movements like Linda Wananchi and Linda Ground are delivering real solutions or simply shaping narratives? And what impact will they have on the political landscape?
Again, do you think political movements like Linda Wananchi and Linda Ground are delivering real solutions or simply shaping narratives, and what impact could they have on the political landscapes? This is what we are also just looking at this morning. Maybe we can at some moment also just get some feedback. You can actually, yes, we have Daniel Oma Otieno saying, great, I was looking for a platform to share my comment. There you have it. Kenya, particularly Nairobi, is already developed generally. Just a few arrangements, widening roads and building a few new infrastructure. Nevertheless, this depends with the amount of capital. If money is much, then we cannot limit ourselves in developing it.
All right. Bilia Mobeto Mutinda says just narratives. Gen Z demos made people think Ruto would step down immediately. What happened? These are mental games. All right. We'll see you after the break. Keep interacting with us on our socials. TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube. We already have our first guest in the studio.
Yeah, Kirwa is here. Kirwa, governance and policy analyst, former cabinet minister as well. So we just want to hear, hey, good to see you, sir. How are you?
Fine. It's long since we met.
Hey, it's long since we met. And
Thank
of course, the weather is a bit crappy, as they say.
For me, I'm happy because that's a sign of life.
Sign of life.
Yes.
Indeed. People have been praying for the rains.
Thank you.
You think they came way too early? They're saying all this is coming all the way from Mozambique. Is what is happening with the cyclone there in Mozambique. So this is actually different now to Kenya.
For us in Kitale, this is clearing the bush before land preparation is set. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know it's good for us.
You're a Mukulima. So
Yeah.
this is good. It will be a good harvest for, of course, Mukulima Kiprutarab Kirwa.
Okay.
And of course, we shall be having some maize next time here for breakfast in the morning. And then guashe.
Courtesy of Kirwa.
Courtesy of Kirwa.
All right. Stick
Take a short
around.
break.
Welcome to the 77% Magazine Show. We have a lot more prepared for you, including from our street debate.
What do you think needs to be done more by us as a community, by government and other stakeholders?
So for the fact that people are running away because of money is a problem to me. You took an oath to save lives.
Very good points raised in that debate.
On Friday, 27th February, 8 brutal fights and 2 title fights of Morris and Wasike. 4 nations, 1 arena.
Yeah, let's see how you do under pressure.
Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Zimbabwe. Pride on the line. No mercy, no backing down. Live from Mass House, Gong Road. Only the toughest will survive. Friday Fight Night. Live and exclusive on TV 47 and on Radio 47.
This is going to be a Kenya versus the world affair. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot miss this one.
Let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure.
In a world full of noise, there is a sound that speaks to the soul. Welcome to Ire Vibes, where roots reggae carries the message and music becomes a voice for the people.
No man them full looking and pretty.
Hosted by Cartella Macy, guided by the wisdom of sound, with Selector Henrique and DJ Wiz, selecting tunes that uplift, inspire, and unite.
Great Jamaicans, great Jamaicans,
And respected high-caliber guests sharing light, culture, and purpose.
The levity of the Rastafari.
Tune in, hold the vibration, and keep the message alive.
Great Jamaicans, great Jamaicans.
Every Saturday from 10:30 p.m. to late.
Jamaicans, great Jamaicans.
Our surname used to be Tan. We were a family of physicians. My grandfather, Tanfu, was the supervisor at the Imperial Academy of Medicine.
once you've gotten married, you are not to ever practice medicine again.
You want me to stop treating people? Grandfather, brother, what should I do?
The blame is going to fall back on us. I must appeal to the court with the other doctors and impeach that witch.
Or scan this QR code and stream your way to endless news and entertainment.
Next time you make fresh lemon juice, microwave a lemon for 7 to 10 seconds. Then roll the lemon and then you pop on the counter. When you squeeze, you get more juice from the lemon. You bring it.
Wanasema nimesota mizina do. Mara niko wash na osha do. Wacha spread hizo rumors.
Relationship Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m.
Backbencher, and your S-class. Backbencher, and your S-class.
To each number's needs, shape conversations, satisfying appetite. Trends to inspire your next meal. Relationship Wednesday and Tasty Wednesday. Every Wednesday, 8 a.m. to
Welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe here on TV 47. And now is a time where we sit down and buckle down to business, discussing issues that of course, formulate policies, governance, and institutional memory here in the country. And what is really catching up now, as we know it, is the issue of the Sifuna movement that we know it. We had the rallies yesterday, we had the Linda Wananchi, and of course we had the Linda Ground rallies happening simultaneously. And it is raising the question of what scholars call the Messiah complex syndrome. And many we do have, of course, across democracies from Latin America, from also Eastern Europe, people who, and even here in Africa, people who rose up because of their charisma, because of their rhetoric, because of their oratorial skills, silver tongue that they have been given. And people tend to crystallize around these personalities. But what does this do when it comes to institutional memories? What does it do when it comes to policy continuity? What does it do when it comes to also democratic accountability? This is what we want actually to focus on this morning and discuss and ask very critical questions. And we are honored to have, as always, every Monday here, Kipruto Arab Kira Waziri, who is a former cabinet secretary or minister in the Mwai Kibaki regime. And also we have with us Joshua Nyamori, who is an advocate of the High Court, eagerly waiting to be joined by David Orogo. I think maybe slept through the alarm. Yeah, you guys didn't send a memo to him. Yes, so let's just talk about this Messiah complex, just broadly. And we have the clips of what happened yesterday that can set the segue for us to discuss this and ask critical question. Are we caught up in that web again? We had Matiang'i, we had Omutata, we had Maraga, we had Boniface Mwangi, now we have Sifuna. Will we taper off or will it hold its own? Let's listen in to what they said yesterday.
Viva hiyo kitu mkutano iendelee. Zima hiyo kitu, mkutano iendelee. Saa yangu kubwa sana, nimesema kwamba Ruto 2027 lazima aende nyumbani. Na nasema hivyo kwa sababu ni nyinyi mmenituma. Ruto wanataka kuua chama. Kina nani? Nyinyi ni nani? Nataka mseme wasikie nyinyi ni kina nani. Walisema hatuingii hapa. Wametutisha mpaka wanatufuata, wanatuandama kama wanyama.
Tiagas haiwezi maliza. Nyuki haiwezi maliza. Maji moto haiwezi maliza. Serikali haiwezi maliza. Lazima iendelee leo. Iendelee, isiendelee.
Wewe Sifuna, wewe, hii mwili yako imetosha kulala kwa kitanda ya State House.
Expelling anybody from the party, but anybody who feels that he is uncomfortable with us can leave if he likes.
Ndiye anaongoza chama cha OD, ile kikundi kingine sio chama cha ODM, hiyo ni kikundi kingine hatuelewi.
And those who want to know how to oppose, they should come to us. We are going to teach them. But this time round, we are going to make sure that we are in power. Election. And ODM cannot be left behind. We are going to do our own thing. Please, if you are not part of us, do your own thing. Let us do our own thing.
Vitu nini? Hii Minister ya Finance, kwanza hiyo hatuwezi kuzungumza juu yake. Minister Energy, hatuwezi kuzungumza juu yake. Tunataka vitu vikubwa ziwekwe juu ya meza. Sisi sio ODM, ndio chama kubwa. Hivi vyama ndogo ndogo sio kama ODM. Tumeelewana?
Watu wajue kwamba hii chama ya ODM iko siku itaweka rais wa taifa la Kenya kupitia chama cha ODM.
All right, stark difference that you could see it. One had someone saying that was a match between Manchester and Arsenal, vibrant as if it sounded in a stadium. And one was a science conference held at KICC. So, which was a science conference held at KICC, and of course the football crowd that were cheering at the end of the day. But on a more serious note,
yes,
when we're talking about weakening of personalization, of figures, how does it also weaken institutional maturity? Also, when you're talking about policy continuity and democratic accountability.
Well, Dibal, it's very interesting, and we are going through interesting times, given the fact that in Kenya, politics has revolved either about coalition of communities or some kind of gravitating towards an individual since independence. It is unfortunate as it is, but this is something we can make do with, given the fact that part of our social setup brings the two to the surface. Despite the fact that we've been trying to be issue-oriented, we still go back to the default state setup where individuals matter, where communities matter. And the way I see it is that in the next couple of months, something is going to form in a way that is going to be the blend of the old and the new. Given the fact that if our presidential candidate will be above 60, of necessity, our running mate should be under 50. Because I feel that is the only blend that you can have in this country, and vice versa. Realizing the fact that the generation that is now vibrant is the generation under 50. These are people who are in charge of various institutions, various companies, and people who have now started making their own money, and therefore they have the requisite capacity to make decisions as to how the operations of this space must be undertaken. The way I see it is that there is one resonating factor. All of them are talking of one term, such that the current regime must therefore plan to pack and leave the scene as soon as possible. And the way I see it is almost akin to what we saw in 2002, where there were those of us who were in NAK, and we were seen to be an opposition that is not likely to take off. But towards the end, the impetus that was given by LDP allowed us to get 66% of all the votes cast in that particular election, 2002, in favor of our candidate, the late Mwai Kibaki. I do not know who is going to be our presidential candidate, but I have a feeling that the two forces, the wing that belongs to the young people, the Sifuna, Babu Wino, and the rest, and those of us who are already in the united opposition, we are likely to unite down the road. That I'm almost sure, I'm definite, because the alternative is going to be a disaster. We cannot afford the same scandals we are seeing. This is 11 billion Talanta, 11 billion issues of e-citizen, and many other billions that have gone down the drain for the last 3 years or so. That is the way I see it.
All right, let's hear from Nyamori. Good to see you.
Yeah, I feel most privileged to join Waziri on this talk show. Yeah, he's somebody I grew up watching in activism, and then he got into government. But listening to him...
Waziri was once in activism?
Yes.
You're an activist?
Yes, yes.
Well, I was in activism. I was in Mageuzi.
Oh, in Mageuzi.
Those of us who were in Kanu identified.
Yeah, and you know, as he speaks, I would want to invite him to be a bit analytical, looking at historical events. And for instance, I look at Mageuzi that he was in. And in my view, that we are still, you know, a distance to the election. And I think that what is happening now is a spectacle, you know, that is informed by dramatized moments. And that just like Mageuzi, finally had a presidential candidate called James Orengo, who after having big rallies across the country, ended up with 24,000 votes in the elections. So I don't think the big rallies that we have seen right now then define where we are going as a country. The masses would definitely always be excited to move towards you know, any big show at any one moment, and then rhetoric. And I keep you know, reminding people that masses all over the world are like, you know, the brutish crowd in Julius Caesar's, in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, where, you know, as Caesar came to the capital, everybody was cheering him. Just a few minutes down the road, the conspirators convinced the masses that they were killing Caesar for Rome. And when Mark Antonio joined and took over, the masses were cheering him and you know, hunting for the conspirators. So what am I saying? That the moment is dramatized. I look at the rallies that are going on around. I think what will hold will be, you know, the side that will build institutions, the side that will speak and respond to the needs of the people. And so I'm listening to, you know, the rallies, and I'm also listening to the government side, the broad-based side speaking. And I see the rallies, you know, raising problems, but not offering solutions. But I listen to the president, and I see him talking about what he promised in agriculture and what's his delivery. I'm yet to hear Waziri say whether or not the farmers in Kitale are receiving, you know, fertilizer at 2,500 and not the 7,000 that they were sold. And the results in the BAMBA harvests. Then there is the issue of, you know, the expansion of our infrastructure that is exciting the, you know, the various parts of the country. Then we have the issues to do with the stability of the macroeconomic factors, the issue of the stability of the shilling, the issue of, you know, the expansion of our foreign reserve, currency reserves, the issue of stabilizing fuel supply. These are real, interventions that this presidency has made and this government has made towards, easing the challenges in the lives of the people. But definitely, we are not where we should, and the life is still difficult. And the president has continuously been telling us that we will still need to do a lot of reforms. And I think this is where I'm waiting for the opposition to tell us that the president has said the interventions that he wants undertaken for the next 30 years. He's talked about the issue of logistics and infrastructure, talks about the issue of, our agriculture, talks about our education, talks about, I would want to hear what is it that the opposition are offering? Nothing. All they're singing is one term. Waziri being somebody I have respected and admired over the years, I hope he's not joining that bandwagon.
Yeah, if he's not, maybe he'll reveal it to us. But I like the analogy that you take it back to the Roman Empire, because I'm a big history buff. I doggedly follow what was happening with the Roman Empire, with the Julius Caesar chanting, leading the mighty legions in very, historic military feats that we had with the Roman legions as well. Coming back to Rome, being celebrated, here was a moment here that we're having of the Messiah complex, in action. And later on, we saw what really happened to Julius Caesar. Power really went up to his head, and finally he had to be, exterminated by the Senate. Just as we are talking about that, can we extrapolate that particular, Messiah complex syndrome that we're talking about to our moment in the country? We've been here before. We're always rolling around a figure, charisma. If you have, charisma, people rally around you, but they will want to question after the charisma what? Is it just a passing fad? Do we have any content beyond the one term, beyond the Sisindo Sifuna? What is there beyond that particular sloganeering?
Yeah, that's why I was talking about the need to blend the old and the young, in the sense that we have certain experiences that we know how the opposition failed in the past. In the run-up to 1992 general election, there was the Matiba moment, where Matiba was received by a concoction of some of the Matatu guys and also some people from the special branch. And he was given a feeling that he was going to win regardless of whether others were going to be with him or not. This is a warning that I just want to give to my colleagues, and I assure Wakili there is no iota of effort that will make me join the bandwagon that William Ruto is leading. I'm saying so advised by the fact that there is no single project that is not laced with scandal, including the one that we are talking about, 80 billion to be spent by the central government in Nairobi for purposes of doing things that the county government ought to be doing. This is something that should have been thought about at the beginning of time, to consider Nairobi as a special county that needs certain assistance, both in terms of revenue collection. Nairobi is collecting 85 million per day. And this 85 million per day should have been used, if it was used very well, some of the challenges that we are seeing would not have taken place. When they say that we do not have an agenda, the current regime is dealing with the manifesto they gave us. Our manifesto is yet to be rolled out. And when we roll out our manifesto, there are certain critical milestones, one of which is to allow institutions to operate. The current regime does not believe in allowing institutions to operate. Let me go back to the city of Nairobi. The city of Nairobi, they could have done public participation. They should have allowed the county assembly to process the issues that they signed the other day between Musalia and Sakaja. But they don't do that because they don't believe institutions should operate. If institutions were operating, Parliament would be vigilant to make sure some of these scandals would be monitored. Now, we cannot say that you are opening infrastructure. For every deal, you are taking a quarter of the money. You cannot tell us that this road is taking you home when you know they have spent more than they should have spent in that particular road. You cannot tell us that we ought to be doing alternative we don't have any money that comes from the taxpayer to us in the opposition. That's why we are talking of one term, because we strongly believe the problem of Kenya is one, William Ruto. In the absence of William Ruto, all institutions operating, Kenya is going to be different from what it is today. As to whether this thing is going to foment, yes, Matiang'i is there, Wamunyoro is there, Kalonzo is there, now Sifuna and Babu Wino and the rest are there. What we know is that we need to give this guy a devastating blow by making sure that 60% of Kenyans are going to reject him. Notwithstanding what Wakili thinks of some of us. We do not, the parallels that we have are just here locally. You can go to Rome, but you'll come back to Kenya. Because at the end of the day, the person in Kenya, yes, you talk of fertilizer, going for 2,500. Is that fertilizer sufficient for all farmers in Kenya? The answer is no. If you went to Sibanga today, a place which is less than a kilometer from my house, fertilizer is still retailing in the normal shops at 6,000, 5,000. Whatever they're saying is what they apportion out as a paltry. A farmer with 100 acres will not be given fertilizer for 100 acres.
Indeed.
They are giving to small-scale farmers. Well, we can say that is going to assist, sustain food security. But is it something tangible that can take us from the current level to the next level? The answer is no. So some of the issues that we are talking about are issues that are artificial, issues that are not practical. I ran that ministry for 5 years. We did not have the situation that we had. I can tell you, as the sun will rise tomorrow, that there is going to be importation of maize this year. There is not farmer crop that they are talking about.
All right. Okay, we need to take a short break right now. Honorable Kirwa, thank you for those sentiments. Of when we circle back, we want to see, we go back to the ground as well, that we've been here before and we've seen the same scenario that we saw yesterday regarding the Messiah complex that we were talking about. How does it weaken our institutional maturity? How does it also affect our policy continuity? And how does it affect our democratic accountability if we are latching all our hopes on one person? And evidently, just as Kipruto Arap Kiro is talking about some of his policies that have been weakened as well in his sector, in agriculture as well with fertilizers. These are critical issues that we want to raise on the other side of the break. You're watching Morning Cafe. Don't go away.
No more excuses. It's time to rise, grind, and own your mornings. Join Coach Shadrach Ouma every Monday to Friday from 5:30 to 6 a.m. Only on TV 47. Full body workouts, zero equipment, maximum results. Start strong, stay strong. TV 47 Fitness with Coach Shadrach. Only on TV 47. Looking for the perfect way to kick off your weekend?
Pole. Hiyo ni salamu ya Mluya kabisa.
Tune in to Friday with Betty, the most exciting show on TV.
Betty, one tear gas. Betty, I don't know where this guy's going.
From the latest news and trends to unforgettable moments.
Wewe
ni simpa.
Friday with Betty is your go-to show for a fabulous Friday night.
Theological, meteorologist, what is that word, Willis?
Tune in this and every Friday at 9 p.m. and let's make your Fridays unforgettable. Only on TV 47.
All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching Morning Cafe. It's State of the Nation. The question you're asking you this morning is, do you think political movements like Linda Wananchi and Linda Ground are delivering real solutions or simply shaping narratives? And what impact could they have on the political landscape? Let's have a listen at some of your feedback this morning.
Good morning, Morning Cafe with Fred Indimuli and Ann Odida. My name is Janet. I'm from Nakuru. I'm watching the show from Nakuru. Yes, the Linda Wananchi and the Linda Ground factions of ODM will have an impact in our political landscape, given that the Linda Wananchi is carrying the ODM labels who feel they're not up for sale, and also it is being led by young leaders in ODM, and therefore some youths who are not even aligned with ODM are getting excited and joining that movement. Actually, it will be a whole game changer if they team up with the United Alternative Government led by Rigathi Gachagua, Matiang'i, and other principals from other political parties. Thank you.
Good morning, Morning Cafe with Fred Indimuli and Ann Odida. My name is James, and I am watching this from Kasarani, Lakisama. My 2 cents on this is I believe that these political movements like Linda Wananchi and Linda Ground, they are just shaping narratives. Because when you listen to both of them, there are no tangible or real solutions that are being brought. It's all about outshining, or rather I would say it's all about kuonyesha nani ako na more aura than the other. The problem with this, there is just one mastermind behind it all, the one who divided the ODM party. We all know him. And so my 2 cents are, hizi movements zina shape tu narrative, hakuna real solution inakuwa provided.
All right, and let's take a look at some from WhatsApp.
A very good morning to you, friend and Anne. My name is Moses Maina, from Moya constituency, Kirinyaga County, and an aspirant for that matter. I would say this, the two formations, Linda Wananchi and Linda Ground, they have different agendas. We can see, and we all can see, for the Linda Ground, it's all about power sharing. That's why you can hear them saying, tunataka power. So you see, it's clearly them is shaping narrative and ensuring that they strategize themselves for the 2027, power sharing deal. They don't care about the real issues affecting the Kenyans. But you can see now the other side of Linda Wananchi, we have leaders like Babu and Edwin Sifuna. There are people who we're connecting with as young people. We can see our reflection of what we need in them. And therefore, to them, I feel like their agenda is delivering real solutions. They have a track record of standing with us, of condemning brutality, of condemning injustices, and always talking about matters that is affecting the Kenyans. Yeah, so that's my take about it. And I would say that we as the young people, personally, I support Linda Wananchi because in them, I see a reflection of what Kenya would want to see. Thank you very much.
All right, these are just some of WhatsApp voice notes and WhatsApp videos, and we do encourage you to interact with us and send us more. Our WhatsApp number is on your screen, 0793267279. Once again, 0793267279. That's our WhatsApp number. Interact with us, send us your videos and your feedback, even voice notes as well. But even before I hand over to Dibal, just love to pose a question to Bwana Kirwe. Are these just narratives, or do they have a solid plan? Kirwe, your question from me to you. Yes. Do you think that these are just narratives, or Linda Wananchi, Linda Ground, do they have a solid plan?
Well, each side is trying to make a case for themselves, and it's a very interesting moment in the history of this country that the party that has pervaded this environment for the last 20 years as a united front for purposes of delivery of certain services to the people of this country and justice to be meted to all Kenyans is now behaving like it's wobbling on one side, and one side is more focused, and looking for a way of ensuring that we have the right government come the year 2027. That I'm confident that Sifuna and the team and the rest of us are going to coalesce at the right moment, the way we coalesced in the run-up to 2002, and deliver a devastating blow to the Kenya Kwanza regime, plus the Linda ground. Together, they will be taken to political oblivion. I'm confident about that. I've seen it before, I can see it again.
All right, so we see Linda ground from Prophet Kirwa.
I don't know whether I have that capacity to prophesize, but I think...
He's prophesying that actually it will be led to obscurity.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, okay. So you're seeing a formation where, and I've heard you really talking about, you know, the blending of the young and the old. The young, they have the energy. The old, they have the institutional memory. And they have the strategy and the template. So are you in any way saying that the Sifuna faction will be joining the United Opposition? Is a breakaway of ODM, yeah, the Linda Wananchi?
I don't know whether it's breakaway, because a lot of things will be done between now and the next 2 months, because NDC of ODM, the Sifuna wing may take over ODM totally and render people like Dr. Oburu totally irrelevant and struggling to survive back home as a senator for Siaya. The most important thing is that Kenyans are coming together. All these formations that you have seen for the last 20 years have been formations of people who are brought together by certain conveniences. But this time, we are looking for each other as the people of this country. And for those of us who have been here before, we would rather sacrifice anything and everything to make sure that the future of Kenya is more stable than the case has been. It reminds me of Mwalimu Nyerere at the age of 63. He was handing over the country to people under 40. Half of his cabinet was under 40, including the Prime Minister then, Edward Sokoine, who was 39, was made the Prime Minister of Tanzania. At the time that Nyerere said, I need a young generation who will learn from our mistakes and not repeat the mistakes that we have made for the last 24 years in Tanzania. That is how we can blend this country.
Okay.
We get somebody under 50 to be in charge of government, whether as running mate or as the president. We must have the courage to say, we've had enough. All these issues, Ruto was using age as a factor in the run-up to 2013. Now that he realizes he's above 60, he's using institutions that he has already destroyed to look like he has an agenda for Kenya. He does not have an agenda at all.
All right, let me introduce also David Orogo, who's a political analyst, checked in at 7 o'clock. We were eagerly waiting for you from 6. You slept through the alarm?
I mean, there's been some...
Don't make the excuse of, you know, it's raining. And when we have rain in this city, the roads, they contract.
Yeah.
So traffic jam has been chock-a-block.
It's the nature of the city we are in. My apologies for coming late, Debal. And
that's okay.
I sat there with the benefit of listening to from Wakili, and as well as the Honorable Kipruto. And I'm also indebted to the vast of knowledge he is and he has in experience, the institutional memory that he has. And like Joshua has mentioned, we also grew up looking up to leaders like Honorable Kipturo, Kira. So we might not agree basically for most of the things that he might be mentioning, because as a young person and also looking towards understanding and getting ourselves to political leadership, we may not really endear ourselves to what the so-called young leaders that we are seeing right now. And you see, I am also a little bit conflicted in terms of looking at then who speaks for young people, because there is a temptation to think that Linda Ground has got faces that are young in nature, and by that their policies are towards youth-oriented. But the question that young people are actually asking is that these probably, they might have been in movements, they might have been in political parties, and their affiliations are probably to the people who the young people perceived as the ones who've broken down our country. And so there is a lot there is a lot within the constituency of young people towards understanding what kind of political factions are they able to, relate with. Because on this other end, there is a government, and has been mentioned that probably participated in violating the rights of young people, in, shrinking the civic spaces, in the run-up of Gen Z movement, and, in other policies that were before. But on this other hand, the search for the alternative, the alternative faces and the alternative policies is on a confusion itself, because the faces, because the narratives, just like our colleagues are asking, where do we stand at this point of time, is a whole confusion, it's still oblivious. Young people are not able to to relate to some of these narratives, that relate to some of these personalities. So while there is a search for redemption strategy amongst the constituency of young people, there is still that lack of clear understanding where exactly the realities are, which particular political functions can we surmountably say that young people are stamping their identity and they're moving towards the world. Yeah.
So they're lacking the true north as it is. It is just hot air, so to speak. Should we call it hot air?
Yeah, I mean, it's just something that within
hot air
you're not able to grab
name right now.
Narratives here.
Thank God to the judiciary and their judgment on the previous elections as well. So what we're saying is, I'm keen to hot air that it will taper off with time. Caught up with this messianic syndrome that we're actually talking about. So you're saying there's no substantive issues on the ground, despite the fact that we have all this, euphoria that is around it, people coming out in force, but when it comes to issues, it's lacking.
I mean, that is the assessment, because of course there is the euphoria that probably there is a new breath in the air of the people who are actually breaking away, from the status quo, from the politics of old establishment. But when you look at it, definitely, like my colleague Joshua was mentioning, what really can you grab as a strong philosophical background on it? What is underpinning that? What is that narrative? Because now it's two different narratives.
Fantastic. Let's hear from Joshua briefly.
Yeah, I think I listened to Waziri speak, and I was waiting to hear anything new. And there's nothing. It's just one term. And,
yeah, so you're just summarizing all he said in one term.
Yeah, that's basically what he's saying. And it's the same, narrative that the so-called United, I'm told now they are calling themselves alternative government, group is calling themselves, and I am extremely disappointed that it is the same narrative that I'm hearing from the Babu Sifuna group calling themselves Linda Wananchi. Spectacle, drama, mobilization rallies are like, a windy afternoon blowing wildfire. And the masses would take any direction that the wind blows. And but at the end of the day, after the wind, the situation is stabilized. And winds never move mountains. And when I talk about mountains, I want you to refer to the fact that it is this president who has tried to move our politics away from ethnicity and away from personality. And throughout his political life, especially in his run-up to the presidency, and throughout his presidency, he's been talking about policies, he's been talking about programs, he's been talking about the philosophical underpinning of his government. I listened, for instance, to Waziri Kirwa speak about the fact that fertilizers are available for the small-scale farmer at the last mile, but not for the 100-acre farmer. As you see, that's the philosophical difference between the interventions that he used to make when he was the Minister for Agriculture and what President William Ruto is making in this government. That in their government with President Kibaki, they served the big shots, they served the big farmers, they served the billionaires and the millionaires. While this government has tilted that and is targeting the small-scale farmer, is targeting the hawker in the street, is targeting the mamamboga, is targeting, and so the reason why the rich and you know, the erstwhile powerful people in the system, like Waziri and all those who have converged around the united opposition, who are basically people who have served in former regimes, have a problem with this government, is that it doesn't make sense to the few elites who have raped this economy at the expense of the masses. What this government is doing, for instance, with affordable housing, is apart from creating housing for people who market had never provided housing to, right now, over 500,000 young people have woken up this morning and are in various sites, are in quarries, are in factories, are on the road transporting, construction material, or are engineers, quantity surveyors, or lawyers engaged in various aspects of the affordable housing, creation of employment to those who otherwise would be in bus stages and in the villages doing nothing. This government has availed fertilizer to that small-scale farmer who would not be cultivating, would rather sell his small parcel of land to the big farmers like Waziri Kirwa, simply because he could not access fertilizer and could not compete with the big farmers. Now they can produce food enough for them to eat first, okay, before they even sell. And then the surplus, they can then sell and compete with the big farmers who can then look for the private means of getting their fertilizer. This is the government where President Kibaki and President Uhuru recruited 2,000, 3,000 teachers. This is a government that in last 2 years has recruited 100,000 teachers. That is significant in human development. This is a government that has responded to, the challenge that we had in our health sector, where, we were continuously making noise about NSSF and no one is offering solution. And, delivered SHA. And then I still hear the opposition making noise. There could be teething problems here and there. But in reality, SHA is working. It's paying, for health services to everybody, including the poor. This is the government that has moved away from, what the previous government used to do, what the Kibaki and Uhuru government did, of concentrating infrastructural development funding to one region, to spreading it across the country. I was looking at, for instance, the investments that have gone into road constructions and electricity infrastructure development in this country over the weekend. And I tell you, Dibal, it is a scandal that we could decide to collect tax from the entire country and only invest in Mount Kenya. This is the government that is now building opening up the Rironi-Naivasha road that will go to Kisumu.
Thank you.
That will build the SGR to Kisumu and other places. And so I can tell you, Dibal, at the end of the day, when the Kenyan will move into the ballot booth, they will not think about those who have been making noise in rallies. They will think about that person who has changed their life, and that will be William Samoei Ruto.
Okay. All right. I don't know if what will be your response, but I want to just ask also, from the content that we're having from the rallies, I've been listening very keenly what is tripping off their tongues. There is one narrative that is a bit worrying, and this is Raila's death, that we've had for the second time Orengo mentioning that there are forces which were behind the death of Raila Odinga. And for me, I was asking, is there any appropriate forum on handling these particular issues? Because we can use Raila's death as a weapon, to actually raise the emotions of the public as it is right now. Well, would you take it to be a very dangerous narrative? And this is what they're saying: have issues on the ground instead of using such narratives and just the sloganeering.
Well, I do not want to engage on matters that I'm least qualified, because I'm not a mortician and I do not have any information as to whether Raila died here or abroad. The only thing that I feel is that a responsible government must always bring a closure to some of the issues.
Exactly, this is what we're saying.
Remember issue of Jirongo. He died, and there are so many stories outside there. They are contradicting themselves as to whether Jirongo died here or he died in Naivasha. So the issue is, for me, I would rather steer away from that particular issue of Raila's death. It is unfortunate it happened, and it's unfortunate the party that he led for 20 years is now being torn into pieces because of certain external interests. But as to the issues that the Wakili has raised, I get worried.
So I just wanted to get it clearly. So you'll steer away, you as a person on that particular podium?
On that particular issue, I would not want to be part of it because I'm least qualified to say...
Not you necessarily. I'm just saying, if you are in those podiums, you know, and you have these issues being raised in the person of Orengo or any other person, do you think that is the wisest of fashion to handle such a very sensitive issue?
Well, if I was to be in that particular podium, I would be able to say the things that I think that are relevant to this country as of now. One of the issues is destruction of institutions. And I thought lawyers, the last time I knew, care about facts. They care about justice. They care about the truth. But some of the issues linking Kibaki and Uhuru is trying to drive the tribal narrative that they are comparing the two Kikuyu regimes with the current regime of William Ruto. And he's not doing it just because he's a Kalenjin. He's doing the mess that he's doing because he's interested in profits. Why is it that there is no project that government funnels out that does not have a scandal, including the share that he was talking about? We are still reeling from the pain of 104 billion that was spent on share instead of 700 million. That would have been spent on NHIF, not NSSF the way you were saying. I'm worried about the so-called affordable housing, when the housing is done by taking money from individuals without the necessary tax measures that are supposed to be involved, and also taking land from the public and selling the same houses at almost a commercial rate. Is that not a scandal? Who are the contractors for this affordable housing? There are people around the president. It has been in the media, and we know it. Where are we not involving almost contractors throughout the country so that when you come to Kitale, you look for some of the business persons who are involved in housing and you allow them to deal with affordable housing? The face of housing is not known. The source of materials is known to come from certain individuals who have connections with the president. So for Wakili to be telling us this is what they are doing, what we are doing, and this is, I want you to listen to me, the issue of policy is that we shall allow institutions to operate, whether it's judiciary, whether it's legislature, whether it's constitutional offices, we shall allow them to operate. And when they operate blindfolded, justice shall be meted to the people of Kenya. How do you explain for the 69 Kenyans who are killed in the run-up to 2024 Gen Z, riots? How do you explain for the young man who was killed in Kitengela the other day? What can you say? One rally is being tear-gassed. Another rally is being supported by the police in two different counties neighboring each other. These are some of the injustices that we want to remove from this country.
All right, but
we cannot talk of projects without talking about the basic.
We need to orient our thoughts also on the fact that we can see the rise of Goonism. And this is acting as a harbinger to where we're heading in 2027 with the general election, which is a bit worrying.
It is worrying
because we've had from different sides, so that we cannot raise accusatory fingers just on one side. We've heard from the CS Burkumen saying that also within the united opposition, all these particular rallies, let me say not united opposition, the rallies that we have, people who are using that particular forum to throw and lob tear gas so that, it might seem this is what the government is doing.
Why
and in essence, they say this is not what the government is doing. I'm just taking his words.
They should arrest them and allow to say it is Sifuna who gave me the tear gas gunster that I threw to the crowd because he had given me instructions. Where are the 12 policemen and goons that went to Adaya?
Let's just listen. Let's listen into what the CS had to say.
Let me say this without fear of contradiction. the only challenge we feel and face as a country is insecurity caused by politicians. Mimi nataka niseme kwamba idara ya usalama iko imara kuhakikisha ya kwamba Wakenya wanaendelea kuishi kwa usalama. Hatuwezi kukubali kwa njia yoyote mtu mwenye atachochea vita kati ya ndugu na ndugu, kati ya jirani, vita za ukabila, cheche za maneno ambayo inaleta malumbano. Sisi tumesema kwamba mtu yoyote mwenye atajihusisha na mambo hayo atachukuliwa hatua ya kisheria.
By police assisted goons, wahuni ambao wamepatiwa mamlaka na serikali ya William Ruto. I will be very careful, Mheshimiwa CS, tukienda huko Kisii kesho, nikubali or not address William Ruto as Mr. President. People are tired. Watu wamechoka. Watu wanataka, this is revolution time. Bato wenyewe imeletwa ndani ya kanisa. And the church, in fact, I would have expected that when we went to visit Inspector General Kanja, the church leadership should have joined us.
That our church was attacked by goons and police in Goethe in April last year. 10 months down the line, the goons have never been arrested. Again, our PCA church in Telubanga was attacked by goons and police. Nobody has ever been arrested. The other day at ACK Vitima Church, we were attacked by police with bullets, with tear gas. The people who attacked us are known. Investigations have been done, and the same interior has refused all those people to be arrested.
All right, so who is fooling whom with this goonism? Because now we understand again it is insecurity caused by, the political class at the end of the day. Let me just throw that particular question to, or you'd finished, Mr. Kiro.
Where are the 12 policemen who are said to have gone to the church and started throwing tear gas canisters? Why have they not been arrested? And if you say those who are goons organized by Rigathi Gachagua, where did the 3 vehicles, police vehicles, do you think Rigathi Gachagua still got police vehicles? Where are the guns? Those people should have been arrested by the police. These are some of the issues that we say fundamentally, let us separate our politics from our issues that we have against each other.
All right, David.
Probably it's one of the issues we've really belated on site here a number of times, the issue of using goons in political rallies, and especially in sanctuaries that are very important as a church. I think, Debal, it is one issue that we just said, if you want to detect how the outcome of a general election would be, this could be one of the early warning signs. That election is just going to be violence, and I think it has been quite clear that the use of violence, in campaigns, definitely boils down to a full-blown violence in the general elections. But I think that's like you mentioned, and I say it when I was sitting here and opening, like it's quite difficult to grasp exactly where we are moving up as a country. Because then it could be difficult then to know why, because from my own point of view, why is there a certain group of people that, wherever they gather, there's always violence meted on them. There's always tear gas canister, thrown to these, individual politicians in their crowding or in the gathering. And I think when we were here last time, there was a full, narrative or discussion that was broken down by the nation on how the security agencies sat and organized, to disturb the rally of Honorable Rigathi Gachagua. I think it was on papers when there was a clear breakdown on the preparation way on Friday, as the event was happening on Sunday. Then we can only believe that at that particular time, probably there was an infiltration of, the security agencies being used in political rallies, which definitely is a dangerous thing to do as we head towards election. In either way, Dibal, by the use of security, leveraging security agencies, in either government or in opposition, during politics in itself is a dangerous trend. because then you look at it in terms of how do you access, for example, tear gas canisters? How do you access, for example, guns and weapons? Be it in opposition, be it in government, are these particular weapons getting into the wrong hands? Because that is generally what we can assume. Because if we say then there is an opposition using these, to capitalize on their political, to gain political mileage, then we should ask ourselves how many guns are there in wrong hands outside that has not been accounted for, and what would be the impact of that, even as we move towards election that sometimes boil emotionally and can get out of hand, or when it's in the side of government, Debal, you realize that then how do we say that the state agencies then could allow the use of weaponry towards certain politicians, in terms of maiming and gagging them. Yes. So in either way, what I'm saying is in either way, because like you've mentioned, Mwananchi is in the center of things, looking at where is the truth. Can we grasp the truth and objectively look at who is then using these, security agencies for their own, political mileage. So I think for me, it is in terms of looking that as an early warning signs towards our usual election that has always turned bloody. And does that spell doom? Yes, it does. As from my own point of view, that it has to be something that has been dealt with, has to be dealt with. Number two, just like you mentioned, the church and the pulpit is becoming probably an issue that, of course, we really need to, to look at into. Every weekend, we are seeing either government or either, opposition in the church podium. This weekend, the two functions, except for the Kakamega rally, the opposition was in the pulpit. The government, led by the president, was in pulpit. Politics, of course, there's freedom of association, there's freedom of worship, and that of political rights. But I think it is gravitating towards a level where the politicians and these functions are finding it costly, to endear themselves in pulpit, which then translates into this, how are we looking at, the trajectory of our policy, where is it headed to? But in terms of policy-wise, and I agree with what Honorable Kipturo has mentioned. When you look at all these policy interventions, the health policies, you're looking at the agricultural policy in terms of fertilizer delivery. There is every part of them has been dodged by corruption. Health sector, SHA, like you've mentioned, KEPS, like you've mentioned. Then why? How would the government of the day defend a policy, however much it is to the last mileage, however much? How would you defend a policy that is dodged with massive corruption that is running into billions? On the other hand, how would opposition articulate a manifesto that is policy-oriented and grounded? So that is where I am.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, David. I think also just getting information that is coming to hand, the feedback for the question that we had raised you, we had actually put on air for you to chime in as well. I think we need to get that particular moment. Anne Odida is standing by to just also help us on that particular note. Anne, what are you learning?
The conversation about Linda Mwananchi or Linda Ground, and the question of the day, once again, Debal, that you're asking our viewers this morning is, do you think political movements like Linda Mwananchi and Linda Ground are delivering real solutions or simply shaping narratives? And what impact could they have on the political landscape? This is our question of the day. Let's listen in to some of what, these are some of your comments. BM Record is saying Wakili is not honest at all. Ruto is the trouble #1 Kenya. Just look at any institutions around. Every department is headed by his tribesmen. Tell Wakili to stop crying loud. Wakili Nyamori. This right here is for you. Dennis Odhiamba says, tell Honorable Kira that ODM has strong structured institutions, so the imagination that somebody can take over a party during an NDC is a fallacy. And Tiana is saying Kenya doesn't need charisma, it needs capacity. A president who respects institutions, hires on merit, publishes targets, and accepts consequences. All right. A president who builds systems. This is still Tiana. She says note slogans and governs Kenya for the next 30 years, not the next election. All right, and let's listen into some of your feedback on WhatsApp as well.
Hello, good morning. Morning Cafe with Fred Ndimuli and Ann Odida. My name is Natasha and I'm watching live from Gara, Nairobi. So my view on movements such as the Linda Mwananchi and Linda Ground being narrative driven is that these movements are actually narrative driven. They are actually shaping perceptions. They are actually shaping their image around the political class, around the political movements. So these movements are supposed to make reforms. They're supposed to make policies that address the key and underlying issues in the society affecting the youth, affecting the women, the children, and the men too. So they should make some reforms and policies that are addressing key challenges, not just shaping narratives and not just shaping perception.
All right, let's listening to one from WhatsApp. It's a voice note.
Good morning, the morning cave with Fred Ndimuli and Ann Odida. Here is Mokua Ian watching from the capital city of the Republic of Kenya. I would say that in any democracy, the citizenry deserves live politics, because in any government, politics are played every day. Despite that, these leaders of these political movements have their own personal interests. Let's not forget that it is rallies like these with chants like yote yawezekana bila Moi that we had substantive results. Yes, let's not forget that these political movements have impact.
All right, keep sending your feedback on our WhatsApp number, which is on your screen, 0793267279. The feedback is right there on your screen. Once again, 0793267279. Wakili Nyamuri, you've been mentioned in one of our comments. I don't know what you'll say about that. You've been told to stop lying. Nyamuri.
You know, it's interesting when such a comment comes, because this is the government that has tried to broaden governance in this country. Other governments have been, you know, very comfortable to lead through, you know, narrow ethnic, you know, structures. And in this government, the president not only gave a chance to the political parties, but then allowed even ethnic communities that had not had space in previous governments and in this government when it was initially elected to get their representatives within government. I need to, you know, make the disclaimer that I speak as I'm a Luo. But I am defending this government because, one, I see for the first time the members of my community having space within the higher echelons in government and in various levels of government, which we have never had. We have sectors in this country that over years have simply been controlled by ethnic communities in which the presidency came from. And when I mention Mount Kenya, I am not mentioning because of ethnic hate. I am mentioning it because there is evidence to that effect. My call on Kenyans, that the philosophy of broad-based government, the philosophy of the government having space for all of us, is something that we all need to support, because it gives us, all of us, an opportunity to be part of this government. And if there is one thing that the president will be remembered for, it will be that. But allow me, Dibal, to weigh in on what you raised about the Goonism, if you allow me.
Okay, sure.
And I want to say that, you know, we as a country, we must realize that we are over 50 million Kenyans. We have only 110,000 policemen across the country. And therefore, police will not be everywhere. And therefore, we must take responsibility for what is happening in our rallies and what is happening in our streets. We cannot cause chaos in our streets and then we blame the government and we blame the police. For instance, if you look at the violence that happened in Kakamega, it was, very coincidental that both in Kitengela and Kakamega, the tear gas was not thrown from outside the venue. It blew up from within the venue, and it blows up. It goes off, especially when one particular speaker, that is Edwin Sifuna, starts speaking, and he conveniently then urges people to not to run away. Clearly not shaken. That is why the narrative that the organizers of the rallies may know the source and the reason for this tear gas is something that is credible and something that they need to debunk.
So are you
the other thing?
So you in a way saying it was stage managed?
That is exactly what I'm saying. that the tear gas issue in Kitengela and in Kakamega was stage managed. The other thing is that one of the organizers...
With the death of Vincent Oyo.
Let me proceed.
I'm just asking critical questions.
And that's what I'm proceeding.
There's one person who has died.
It was quite unfortunate.
Yeah,
not
from the whole
person, 2 people have died.
Yeah.
2 people have died.
The
Kitengela incident, the Kitengela incident, we are waiting for the investigators to give us the report. But from what I've seen from the clips, is that the clip that I've seen of the confrontation between police and the attendance of the meeting is where certain youth are throwing, rocks at a police van.
You can talk about that in isolation, yes. But
allow me, Dibal, to prosecute this. I keep telling people that every big meeting, there would definitely be a reason why police would have a van near that place. And so if a tear gas went off inside the rally, and then a group decide to throw stones at the police, I keep telling, especially leaders, let us tell young people the truth. When police are pelted with stones, when they feel that their life is threatened, when properties, there is fear of damage of property or threat to life, police may use arms, and they could even use lethal force. And so we should not encourage our young people that they can throw, rocks at the police and then they will go home, safe. That is my view. In the Kakamega incident, the DCI released a report yesterday that the young man who died, unfortunately, was mobilized by one of the organizers of the rally. And indeed, if you go to the social media, one of the organizers, that is Babu Wino, actually says that was his supporter. Then it is said that young man was engaged in a scuffle in which he stabbed somebody else. And so the question is, why should our supporters come to rallies carrying arms? Why should they be carrying knives? Why should they be carrying rocks? Why should they, be threatening lives of other people who are attending rallies or people who were going about their businesses? My point is that we will have to change our behavior as politicians and reduce the incidences of violence. And I am hoping that the police will investigate these incidences and take actions. But if we do not take actions as politicians, if we do not take actions as leaders, if we do not demobilize our people from violence, then we are faced with a situation in which we might have a violent election.
So let me ask you.
Yes.
We have a knife, as you allude to, that was found with that particular rally and threatening the life of another. What is the wisest of fashion that the police should use as a reaction? Is it to maim or to kill? Because there's a concept here that we're trying to see, just as we know it, the lax talionis that you might be aware of. An eye for an eye or a leg for a leg. Even those were the judgments that we had there. So that when I cut your knife or I cut your hand, I don't go for your head. I think so I go for eye and for an eye. Why wouldn't the police use? When I mentioned, let me just execute my point and ask you that question. Yes. Why? That was a good opportunity, maybe for the police, where we've had even the president saying, we'll shoot their leg. Why wouldn't they have shot the leg of this gentleman? Maybe to maim. Instead of going directly, because we understand it went through the eye and coming through the back of the head, you know, now injuring also the spinal cord.
As I sit here, I would not support any shooting of a Kenyan. But the point I'm trying to raise is that we need to avoid situations where that happens. I believe that we still have a lot of work to do in police reforms. We still have a lot of work to do in police training. We still have a lot of work to do in police equipment so as to enable them to be able to handle crowds better. But even as I say that, I like talking of what is and what not should. And what is that when we have 10 policemen, or rather 2 policemen, accosted by a crowd of hundreds throwing stones at them. You remember an incident in which a female policeman during one of the protests in Nairobi was being pelted with stones, and it took one of the protesters to cover her, to protect her. In such a situation, that policeman or their colleague, if the only thing they have in their hands is a firearm, it is important that we tell our sons and daughters, and I tell my sons and daughters this thing every day: do not face a policeman with a gun and you know, be confrontational.
Thank you.
We must be able to train the public to also learn that we can engage in non-violent means and not engage police in violent means. And that anytime we engage in violent means, most likely somebody will be hurt. Either the policeman or the member of the public.
All right. Still, I want to gravitate the discussion back to the Messiah complex, and I wanted just to play this particular clip and see if you may identify that particular rally where, yes, and the total political show that we've been having. So can you, let's just have it so that we can have Kirwa and Orogo and also Nyamori commenting on it. Right, I like the way you're getting confused as well, just as I am. So would you tell us where it was? You saw they came out in force as well, but we can't see the Messiah. So we kept away the Messiah so that you can identify, right?
Well,
where do you think that was?
Well, I suspect it was Kitengela.
Okay, Kitengela, Nyamori?
I suspect that must have been Kitengela.
Kitengela?
Me as well. I think it looks like Kitengela rally. Yeah. Well, are we wrong on that?
Actually, this was in Kisii.
Oh,
you know, when Matiang'i came back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and Matiang'i is going back to the Kisii region with the United Alternative. Yeah, the whole of this week.
Days,
So the question is, this was a crowd then. Where is the crowd with Matiang'i? We're talking about this euphoria that normally really happens. Briefly, Kiva.
It's still there.
Yeah.
The crowd is still there. It's only that...
I have not seen that crowd since that day. Yeah, this was 9 months ago.
Well, it's still there because it is latent potential. This is the first time that Nyanza is going to vote differently from the way they have voted for the last 25 years. And I'm so confident that that team getting out of the old ODM turf is likely to cause a lot of mayhem to the stability of ODM. Of course, knowing that Luo Nyanza, Raila has been enjoying only 20% of all the votes he gets in Kenya have been coming from Luo Nyanza. And they are the ones who failed him, led by Wakili here, because 700,000 people did not turn out to vote. And Raila lost by a margin of 200,000, including my own vote. But that's not the most important thing. The issue of goonism, for me, I condemn it. Regardless of whatever we say, whether it is the politicians or the government has the responsibility to take care of every citizen. And if I was to advise the government of the day, whenever there is an opposition rally, keep policemen away.
Thank you.
People will be happy.
Thank you.
They will not kill anybody, and nobody will be killed.
Right, thank you.
I don't think it could be wise to keep the policemen away from political rallies. I mean, the responsibilities of security agencies, especially as we are moving towards the elections, and now that the political rallies are being infiltrated, what happens when the political functions goes haywire on each other and people begin to fight? So for me, the ball is basically what I said before, like in either side, and probably debate the opinions from Waziri and Nyamori actually points out what I'm saying is that is either one hand the government uses security agencies to destabilize an opponent political rallies. That in itself is not right, and it poses a lot of security questions. Using police, I mean, the police was transformed from a force to service. So that means that by that they should be able to serve, all Kenyans in either way. Same to the opposition. However, you've asked some very critical questions about the, Dr. Fred Matiang'i.
In just 30 seconds, because you're supposed to be winding up, yes.
In political rallies, I actually still struggle to see the crowd. And like I said, I wouldn't really want to judge, his political mileage. Crowds are perception. It's quite difficult to tell whether the crowds you pull will be able to be translated, to the votes. I mean, you've just mentioned that Raila had got one of the biggest crowd pullers that we ever had, in this country. But the crowd probably did not being able to translate that to votes. I'm wondering whether, that is the realities, or whether voting or counting is another reality. But you can't really tell that the much crowd you have could be translated to converting to voters. So I think the opposition, just like government has, we would probably find another time to look at, the candidature, the presidential candidature within the opposition party, because that in itself has got a lot of nitty-gritties on it. But like I said, it's quite difficult to translate whether crowds will translate to votes. It's still early to tell. There's a lot of factors to put in consideration for that.
All right. Okay. I think we should just bring this to a close, but I want just to walk over to where Anne is, and we do a bit of feedback together. Then we'll come and just give you our bye-byes as well. Thank you so very much. And what are you learning so far?
All right, let's just remind them what our question of the day was. All right, okay, let's take a look at some of your feedback as we come to a close of this conversation. Let's listen in.
Good morning, Fred and Anne. I'm Wycliffe, watching from Embakasi. My view kwa hii political arena saizi ya Linda Mwananchi and Linda Ground ya ODM, I will speak in two things. Kitu ya kwanza, it may be a political confusion of Kasongo akifinance Linda Ground. Number two, I can say it like Sifuna is doing something Baba used to do, defending the common Mwananchi. But in support of Sifuna, he is now the wave, and is now the way. He is doing what many could not do, and that ile energy anatumia stuff, unaona that like this is not the right direction. Sifuna is doing well, and we are hoping for the best.
Good morning, the morning cave with Fred Indimuli and Ann Odida. Here is Mokua Ian, watching from the capital city of the Republic of Kenya. I would say that in any democracy, the citizenry deserves live politics. Because in any government, politics are played every day. Despite that these leaders of these political movements have their own personal interests, let's not forget that it is rallies like these with chants like yote yawezekana bila Moi that we had substantive results. Yes, let's not forget that these political movements have impacts.
All right, these are just some of your feedback this morning. And of course, thank you so much for sticking around for State of the Nation. Coming up next is Monday Blitz. Fred Arocho and Katela Macy are already on standby to give us the latest in the world of sports. Of course, weekend sports. Stick around for that as well. All right, as you can see on your screen in a minute, you'll be having them here. So stay with us and interact with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, on X, TV47 Digital. My handle is at @Dida, and Dibala, as you thank your guest, what is your handle?
Yeah, Dibala Nair is my Twitter handle, so make sure that my X handle, it should be right now. And I want to thank you very much for the contributions that all you've made so far on that particular platform. Also to thank our guests, Kipruto Rapkirwa, who has, of course, contributed immensely on this. We have Joshua Nyamori, who has also made a very good salutary effort in making sure that we understand from the government's perspective how that is holding on. And David Orogo as well, who's a political analyst. We thank you so much. And always remember, in essentials, unity, in non-essentials, liberty, in all things, charity. Let's congregate on things that really matter for this country, constitution, and the rule of law. And of course, we can always disagree and agree on matters that we know, our policy. We can see different perspectives as well. And in all things, let's spread the love. That is all about charity. And
all right, stick around and enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Indeed.